right, good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, February 16th, 2015. And this is Before the First Cup with Jules here on UCY.TV. Happy Thursday, everyone. Hope you are having a good day. I don't know what the temperature is here. I was actually just going to check my phone. I woke up this morning, my phone and my computer 2 days in a row have apparently had 4 StenSA updates. They must really be patching holes or adding surveillance because it's been bypassing my do not download reboot orders. Here. It's warm here today because I'm sweating. Oh, it looks like it might be in the 50s. Feels like it, actually. Hold on. It's going to be a slow morning. Activate alerts. No, I don't want to activate alerts. I just want to see what my temperature is, damn it. 54 degrees. All right. 54 degrees and mostly cloudy here in upstate New York. It actually feels like it's about 80. I'm sweating right now. It's only because I'm in the small little room with all the hot computers. Yesterday. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's one of the other things I want to explore. Anybody looking for chat, no longer on the BTFC page, and I'm going to take it off of all the other pages as well. There is one little corralled area now called chat. We'll see how long that lasts. It's a tab somewhere along the way on the UCY webpage. I couldn't move it. I don't know. Something's broken on there, but I at least could create it. I'll have to have Paul look at that. I've had about enough of being embarrassed when new people come to listen to shows and see the idiocy going on in there. So, hate to tell you, but last step to it being deleted completely. It is now corralled in its own little spot. And I'm not going to put it on any of the pages. And if a chat does go onto the pages of the hosts, it's going to go back to the old way where if the host wants it, they're going to have their own chat. They're going to be admin, and they will be able to delete and ban at will. So, you know, that's the way that's going to work out. All right, so if you're looking for chat, it's in the protected free speech zone that says chat on the menu of the website. And I'm not talking about this anymore because I've had about enough. Wasted enough of my breath on it. All right, so anyway, where we left off yesterday, and that's what I want to look at right now. We did a show. I'm still trying to recover. It's been a rough, I don't know. This has just been a rough, like, what month is this already? 4 months. But in particular, the last couple of weeks or so, you know, it's like every week it's worse than the week before. It's like, how is it possible? The boiling frog. I guess maybe I'm being conditioned for the worst that's yet to come. But it's like every week I'm like, my God, it was bad last week. Now it's worse than last week. I needed some coffee. All right. So yesterday's show was titled Intel China, NASA, and I think I added one more, but it didn't make it. So by the time it posted to YouTube, NASA and MK Naomi. We talked about all that stuff yesterday. So if you missed it, you got to catch up. It was actually a little bit choppy at the beginning. I did all right on satellite, so I was happy. But hold on. If we can get this to load, everything has been rebooted here. So I lost so much stuff. And trying to catch up again, half asleep is never fun. But we'll just go with it. I'm not in any hurry today. Here we go. All right, what do we call this? Oh, Intel China, NASA, vaccines, CIA, and Project Naomi. That's what it was called. And only 11 people watched it. So, I don't know. You know what? I got to tell you guys, I've been observing. I think that's what I'm supposed to do is observe. I just watch a lot of things. I try to to do good things, but I watch a lot of things, and I have to tell you, I'm pretty disappointed in just the human race in general. You know, uh, 11 people give two shits that we're about ready to be assaulted by robo fleas or whatever the hell next they're going to let out. Did you see the new? They called them locusts. Of course, I thought it was a swarm of locusts, but don't think that's not coming next. Freaking Army, Air Force just releases their new swarming locust drones that they can just deploy easily, and they're all lightweight and just, and there it goes. And there's thousands of them in the sky, all surrounding you and shooting you. I don't know. I mean, I really feel like if we can't all get together, even in the virtual world, and I mean, people that have known each other for years, we cannot just drop a topic and talk about the weather and get along, then we're just so beyond fucked. You know, you see why, at least from my perspective, has been a social experiment to see, everybody complains about not having any free media, so they got free media. So what do? Do you step up and help? Well, and been a lot of that out there. Do you support it with I don't know. I mean, your time, yes, you guys did great. We've had a very solid core. Do you? Everybody hates when people go on air and beg for money. So I try not to do that. But guess what? If you don't beg for money, there is no money. People complain about commercials. So I don't run any commercials. But then there's nothing to run the network. People complain about, I don't know. It's getting to the point now where I see why we're in the conundrum that we're in. Because it has been this project that has over 2.5 years, and actually when you add on the before, there probably is close to 4 years now of the time and effort that's put in. We should have had at least 50 people who are participating daily in helping keep all this running. 50 volunteers who, I'm not asking people to put in as much time as I do because it's kind of psycho, but at least a couple hours a day, even an hour a day, something. So now this chat thing, we can't even have an intelligent conversation in chat. And if someone says something that we don't like, we can't just ignore it. I did find a story about hypersensitive people. And it's not hypersensitive people. It's just people who, I used to be like that. Like, I couldn't let it go. And I think that's a part of like OCD or something, because I couldn't let it go. I'm broken now and I'm really tired. And so, you know what? I don't give a fuck about most stuff anymore. I just don't. I don't have the time, the effort, or the energy. I just don't give a fuck. And UCY is one of the few things that I still give a fuck about, and it's getting to the point where I almost don't give a fuck about this anymore either. This eye twitch thing, this has been causing the eye twitch. That means I'm done. I am at the limit of what I can take. And when I fucking went back to chat last night after midnight on my time off after an entire horrible day of shit I had to deal with, I almost lost it. I was in the admin. I almost deleted the whole chat forever. I shouldn't have to talk about this. I have one kid. That's enough. I don't need 40 fucking kids who can't control themselves. It's just irritating. You guys complain about the police state. Well, it's obvious to me that we're not very effective at policing ourselves, then, are we? Wait, you need someone to come yell at you? You need someone to tell you to stop over and over and over again? And that doesn't work. So now we got to start resorting to what? Virtual bopping over the head? Virtual tasing? I mean, what the fuck? You know, you guys complain about all this shit, and I see the same shit happening here. And I think to myself, we're doomed. This is not my topic for today, so drop it. I am not talking about this again, and if I have to, I'm deleting the whole fucking website, and it's over. I don't want to hear it anymore. I need this like I need a fucking hole in the head. I'd like to go enjoy my summer for the first time in 4 years. I'd like to get my 4 years of life back, people. Now the show's trash. Good job. Here, well, I guess we're going to have to read about this then. Just so happened that it was next to the other story I was going to kick the show off with. The most whiny, thin-skinned, easily offended society in the history of the world on Zero Hedge. This is what I was saying. I truly believe, and I didn't write the story. I truly believe that we are the most whiny, sensitive, thin-skinned, easily offended society in the history of the world. Nobody has ever been as prolific at getting offended as we are. Nobody cries over insignificant nonsense as loudly and as consistently as us. It's kind of funny because it's exactly what I'm talking about. You know, anyone who's heard me for a long time knows my mantra is personal responsibility. You know, I've been on my own since I was 18, all right? So there was nobody babysitting me, and I had to learn everything the hard way. But once I learned it, I never asked for help from anybody. You know, and don't fucking even show me how to do it because I'll figure it out for myself. Personal responsibility, meaning deal with it. Don't make your problems somebody else's problems. You know, when I was an engineer, you know, there were things that were great about the job and there were things that sucked ass about the job. And one of the things that sucked ass about the job is that because none of the salespeople knew data. Okay, this was back in the beginning days of data. At least the beginning days of commercializing it. So I had to go out on every fucking appointment. They were all phone people. They weren't data people. Every fucking appointment. And I had to do all the talking to sell the shit. And I had to do all the work to put together the proposal. And I had to do all the pricing. And then I had to go back out with that salesperson, and I had to do all the presenting. And then they got to have the customer sign the paperwork for the $320,000 project or whatever it was we just proposed. And they got the commission. Now, that's absolute bullshit. I did all the fucking work and they got the benefit. I don't know why I brought that up. Because they were not being personally responsible for themselves. In the end, I couldn't do that job anymore because it bothered me too fucking much that they made 15% commission on that. And I got like 3. And I did 99.99999% of all the work. And the second anything went wrong, they came to you. They couldn't even like use their brain. And I'm talking, you know, how many years did I do that? I mean, it was okay when it was like the very first days and no one even knew what a router was or a switch or anything. But by the time we got in 3-4 years, I think I did the job like 7 years. 3-4 years. And I have a sales guy who I've been in every call with, who's looked at every proposal, who's listened to me do this 100 times to give a presentation. And you still can't talk intelligently about a fucking switch? That's pure damn lazy. That's wanting me to do your job while you get your feet up on the desk and then you collect the paycheck. Cha-ching. My whole thing has always been show them how to do it, take off the training wheels, and then push them down the hill. We're at the push down the hill state, and we have been for a couple years. Okay? There's never been ever been a problem in my chat. Ever. It was a happy chat. And now I get probably a handful that just can't stop. I don't care who started it. I don't care who said what. I don't care what, things are said. Water under the bridge. Get over it. Move on. Forget about it. Change the subject. If you don't like it, go away for 2 days. Come back later. Come in as a non so no one knows who you are. I don't care. I don't want to deal with it anymore. It's the end. Anyway, let's get back to being a whiny society. It's one thing we seem to do better than everyone else on this planet. We cornered the offended market, and it's not even close. Modern Americans love to get offended more than we love eating Cinnabon or talking about our never attained fitness goals. If it was an Olympic sport, we'd grab the gold, silver, bronze in every year. And if it was a job, we'd all be millionaires. In fact, we have turned into a job, and the people who do it professionally are millionaires, i.e. Al Sharpton. That's what it says. It's our calling card, our national pastime. It's the battle we fight and the banner we have. We get more offended faster and more efficiently than anybody else in the world. And it's not just our speed that separates us from the rest, it's our endurance. We have a limitless capacity for offensiveness. Every week there's a dozen new national outrages and boycott campaigns and social media crusades to raise awareness about some offensive thing or to get someone fired up for saying some offensive thing or to teach people that some previous non-offensive thing has now become offensive. And that is very true. I mean, I have to say that I am a party to that, but I think the offensive thing depends on what side of the fence you're on. Calling out truths is different than being professionally appalled. Though, I mean, they're similar, but I think when we stand on top of the barrel and we start pointing to the bullshit with the FDA printing fraudulent studies and then stand on another barrel and point bullshit to all the pro-vaccine groups out there that are pointing to the fraudulent studies saying that we are full of shit, that's where I draw a line, because that is not, we're not talking petty stuff here. I'm talking petty, okay? Stuff that in the grand scheme of things, when it comes down to all the things that we are facing right now in our lives, the things that don't, in the end, when you're laying on your deathbed, is it going to matter? I don't know. There probably aren't too many things, actually, that are going to matter on your deathbed. So we should probably think very hard about that. I was gone for a few days. Speaking of things you remember on your deathbed, I was gone for a few days. And my one little kitty cat, he's got to be 17 now. He was my last of my single kitties back from my day when we used to travel. God, I don't know. I probably moved 5 times in all those years. And I used to seatbelt them in their kitty carrier, and we'd all go to my parents' house for the weekend. They were the greatest little cats. They were like little kids, literally. But out of the 3 of them, there's one of those cats still left, and that's my little Simon. And he just gets so upset now. You know, they get all snuggly when they get older. And he gets so upset when you leave for a few days. So he was pacing. He could not wait for time for me to go to bed. So finally I crashed. And of course, he's in my face and poking my head. So I woke up this morning, literally, this cat was as close to me as he possibly could be, on my chest, in my face. Just so happy to have his mom back. And I have to say, when you look at something that'll be important to you on your deathbed, I know it's just a cat, but that made a little creature very happy. And they don't argue, and they're never professionally appalled. My cat is the one creature who never, ever, 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 ever gives me a hard time. Ever. The one on planet Earth. One. And maybe there's more. But at least in my close realm, my cat is the one creature that I can always depend on. All right. I don't know if I feel like even reading any more of this now. Wow, my whole show is shot now. I don't really feel like reading the rest of this. Maybe we'll read this one another day. I am not in the mood. I am in the mood for spider robots. Except I gotta find myself here. There we go.
At CES, we announced Curie, which is a computer the size of the button. If you remember at CES, I pulled off a button and showed I'd been wearing it for the whole show, and it had been measuring some of my motions. Today, I want to show you another example of what we've been working on to continue development on Curie. We've put together a small wristband that can be used, and it has Curie on there. I need to put this on and hopefully not mess it up. Okay. And we've connected Curie to these robots, spider bots we call them, and they're actually talking to each other. And my motions will now control these robots. Remember, we said that Curie had special hardware and software built in it that it could understand motion. It could understand motion not only in you're moving left or you're moving right, but it could actually interpret, I'm running, I'm swimming, I'm walking.
I'm muted, sorry. I'm going to stop for a second because I thought he said emotion, but he actually is saying motion, but there is another video, and that is the robotic spider dress, and I'm going to play that next, and that literally says that it can detect emotion, not just motion, emotion. So hold on.
It can also understand how my arm is, and so going to wake up the robots. Okay? Like they're excited to be here today. Now I'm going to gesture to shift their colors. Okay? Now here's my favorite, but I got to make sure I do this right.
It's a Heil Hitler. With spiders.
And now
robot spiders. All right, let me get over to my page. We got to do the robot spider dress now. Because I got to tell you, I thought that robot spider hand motion thing was scary until I saw the dress. And it's... Oh, hold on. This autoplay crap. Hold the phone. Everything is locked up. Doodle doodle doo. Everything is locked up. Doodle doodle doo. And right here.
A dress is making headlines at the 2015 Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. What is known as the spider dress contains a 3D printed bodice with mechanical limbs that move to ward off those who invade the wearer's personal space. The device contains 20 embedded proximity sensors, which have a range of about 23 feet, and biosignals to monitor the wearer's breathing and stress level. It also uses Intel's Edison platform to react in real time to changes in mood or emotion. The dress was created by Anouk Viprecht, a Dutch-based designer and engineer who describes her expertise as fashion tech. Her inspiration was to use technology and the garment as a medium of interaction. She also finds it interesting that the dress responds to the wearer's internal reactions to the environment, which are not always controllable. Viprecht believes that the dress can be used for more than just a social experiment. She argues that its sensitivity to the body's distress level could have healthcare applications as well, such as in cases of elevated cardiac activity.
Isn't that messed up? It actually can react to your stress levels and it detects proximity. So it can tell if someone is getting near you, and if you are getting stressed out, these spider legs on your shoulders. And like I said yesterday, at some point in the future, could have like X-Men freaking razor blades on the end go ba-ting and stick out. And I could definitely see it as some sort of military armor. Pretty disturbing. So it has biosensors. These new Curie processors are specifically designed for wearable computing, so they're going to integrate this shit into your clothes. This is just not right, people. This is way more invasive than I ever saw technology. My cell phone sitting on my bedside table is too invasive, considering they can hear every time I burp or cough in my sleep. I don't need computers in my pajamas being able to detect when my heart rate goes up when I'm sleeping. We talked about Intel being banned from selling chips in China yesterday, and they were working on that massive supercomputer that they were just about ready to. They were just about ready to upgrade. But now, lo and behold, the U.S. is going to build a supercomputer, and we banned all the chips from Intel to China. So we're going to be actually the leaders for the first time in a while. And Intel and China are probably pretty pissed off because there was a lot of profit that was going there. And then, of course, the hot video of the day within the last 24 hours. Actually, this is one of the other things that makes it feel that my efforts are worthwhile is when we get a viral video. I know it sounds stupid, but there's a lot of work and time and effort that goes into that. And when you get videos that have 0 views, it's like, Jesus Christ. Again, people complain and say they never knew. But I'll tell you what, you spend a couple days going through the Pigmind playlist, let it go on autoplay, and just load your head full of info. And of course, you got to put on your intelligent thinking cap. Don't sit there and just absorb all the information. Sit there and look for all the connecting points in the snippets. Use it to tie information together and to see the bullshit they're spreading. But this one was good. Let's see what it got now. It was like over 100,000 last night. In 24 hours. It's pretty amazing. Hold on. Yeah, 122,621 views in just over 24 hours. And it was titled Chimpanzee Knocks a Drone Out of the Sky with a Stick. Weren't we talking about we got to figure out how to get these suckers to fall? Well, chimpanzee took the low-tech way, and I think eventually that's what I'm going to be doing, standing in the treetops swatting at drones. It was great, actually. The chimp got annoyed because this drone was like in its face. Oh, we're not connected anymore here. because this drone was in its face and it whacked it with the branch.
It looks like it's not just humans who are concerned about their privacy when it comes to drones. A chimpanzee has been caught on camera knocking a drone to the ground by swatting the aircraft with a stick. The drone was sent into the skies above the chimpanzee enclosure at Royal Burgers Zoo in the Netherlands. It was trying to take footage for a TV show. Program makers had hoped to use the drone to capture the enclosure from above. The chimpanzee is seen perched on a branch as the drone approaches. It then lashes out with a stick and scores a direct hit. The aircraft falls to the ground and the chimpanzee wanders over for a closer look. Once the chimp got hold of the camera, it captured a video selfie.
Ah. That was pretty funny. So anyway, yes. You know, one other thing I have to tell you, though, is watching these videos and what goes and what doesn't, it really gets me as far as what the majority of us are paying attention to. Seems like ISIS videos tend to do well, and I really would love to see where those ISIS videos do well from, because it's always, you know, anytime there's anything blood, guts, and gore having to do with ISIS, there's tons of views on it. So hopefully those views aren't coming from the Middle East or supporters. But one of the other things I noticed is any story like this, like, what was another one that did well? Like the homeless Mozart did huge. Or, the feel good. The guy who actually found the huge bag of money laying in the middle of the road, dropped off the Brinks truck last week. That one did huge. But, you get tasered and shot in the face, or a cop's caught on camera killing somebody, some innocent guy with his hands up, standing with his back to him. And maybe it gets 20 views. I mean, we've talked about this and how they desensitize you to things. And over the last couple years of doing this daily and watching these videos and seeing what goes and what doesn't and figuring out how to push news out there and get it seen, I have to say that we are desensitized now to this police violence. Nobody gives a shit anymore if a cop shoots some unarmed guy in the back. They really don't. They're like, ho-hum. And honestly, I got to tell you, when these stories come through, I know that there's been a few times over the last few weeks that I said to myself, is this a new case or is this the same one that now they're trying to sort out what happened? Because it's very difficult to tell. But it's disappointing because, again, like I said, I used to have hope, and all the things that we've called out are happening. And as they're happening, people are just going more and more into their shells. Now, this whole thing that's been going on up in Oregon, which I don't have enough knowledge to be able to even discuss this, but what I wanted to bring up is that, right, there's this, I wish Hal were around because I would love to hear Hal talk about it. There is this Bureau of Land Management dispute going on over mineral rights in southern Oregon and northern California, up around Shasta and that. And BLM is trying to claim rights. Now, we know that that's what Hal and Miner Dave have done for many, many years. They've been fighting for miners' rights because the federal government never owned those mineral rights. And now, after the fact, they're trying to take claim of them. Like I said, I'm talking out my ass. I read a couple stories quickly and said, oh, no, here we go again. Because, of course, they were calling for Oath Keepers to show up, so this is going to be ugly. But out of the two stories between Bundy and this gold claim in Oregon, I definitely would have to say that Oregon probably is more legit. I don't know. I still felt that there was some fishy stuff with the Bundy thing. I didn't like that at all. But, oil and mineral rights are something that we all face. Anyone who has a piece of land knows all about oil and mineral rights and timber rights. Okay. And here in New York, typically you don't own any of those. I mean, you can, but typically those have been sold long before the piece of property. So, like here's one thing. Say you own a piece of land and who knows, Standard Oil, Sinclair Oil, one of those old oil companies, because they used to be up here. In a lot of the cases, in places where they don't pump oil anymore, but where they used to drill, because in New York, right? New York is a big state. There's all kinds of stuff under the shale. A lot of those companies went belly up, but those rights have been sold. So here's the thing. It could be 200 years since they looked for oil on your property. And tomorrow somebody could show up and decide that your piece of property is a good place to start mining. It's making my eye twitch. Ah. I mean, what would you do? And if you don't own those rights, you don't have a leg to stand on. Well, similar in this BLM case in Oregon, except that it seems the feds don't own these rights. And that's the feds are trying to take the rights. But this land was public land. I don't know if it's still public land. But it was, the same story about it pre-state and whatever. So keep an eye on that. I mean, that's one place that I see right now that people are actually standing up. I don't want to see any bloodshed. I think that there have been enough legal cases, and I'm hoping Hal lives up there, and Hal's been fighting this for many years. So I'm really hoping that Hal has something to say for his 2 hours on Saturday or Sunday when he talks about this live, because I'm sure he will. I mean, this is Hale's thing. But we need to stand up for the encroachment, the slow encroachment of our rights. So another thing, the vaccine thing, right? We've been talking about this forever, and I just don't have it in me to go through the whole 10, 12 weeks of catching up to tell you why this is important. But trust me, they are coming. They're coming quickly. And if this law in California passes that gets rid of all exemptions so you can never say no to a vaccine, the end is nigh. If you understand what's in these vaccines, you understand. Listen to the whole show yesterday. I don't know. I think it explained it enough. You would understand why we need to stand up. We can't be arguing. I just can't even get over all the bad feelings that have been fostered over the last few months after all the years that we've been really trying to work together to bring it as a group. And if I didn't know any better, I'd almost think that it was being done intentionally. Why would you? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But I got to tell you, it's sucking the life out of me. I can't watch it anymore. Can't be a part of it. And I'm going to have to do something drastic, and then everybody's going to cry about it. So that's just the way it's going to be. There's been more. Somebody's like, well, why don't you just ban me? You know what? I don't ban people out of chat. It's like I said, personal responsibility. I don't babysit people. When I was a manager, I didn't babysit anyone. Get your work done. This is what needed to be done. We need to have it done by here. I don't give a shit how you do it. I don't give a shit, how little you do it. Just make sure it's done on that date and it's fucking right. I don't want to have to go back 10 times and keep finding your mistakes and then having you fix them either. Should be done right and done right the first time. No excuses, as my father used to say. That's it. That's what makes you a good, reliable person. Somebody who gets shit done. Somebody who's successful in life. I'm not going to ban anyone. Ban yourself. If you can't keep your fingers to yourself, you just can't stop typing and escalating the situation, then hit the little red X, actually it's a little black X, in the upper right-hand corner of the tab. It's time to go to bed then. That's called being an adult. And one kid is more than enough. Consumes large portion of my free time. And then there's, 15 other hours of work a day that I need to dedicate to this. I don't have time for the stupid bullshit. And words are just words, people. Words are chat. Chat's pretend. Chat is not real life. Maybe we forget that sometimes. You know, if it was my next door neighbor that I was having fights with like that, I might consider moving. But if it was in chat, well, there's all kinds of things I'd figure out before. I don't know. It's so irritating. I'm not going to think about it again. All right. U.S. testing swarm locust drones. Let's look at this one. Hey, what I'm saying is this shit is all coming at us like 1,000 miles an hour. And before we know, we're going to get bitch slapped left and right and go, what the fuck happened? And here, what do we do? We had all this opportunity and we fucking pissed it away. The music's good. I don't think there's any narration in here. It says U.S. Navy swarm drones. And they look like if you've ever seen turkey vultures, if you've been down in the hills, and you look up and you know that there's something dead somewhere because you see 15 turkey vultures all flying above and they're circling and then they all come together in the squadron. That's exactly what these locust drones look like in the sky. And they fire them up in like this little rocket launcher thing that they got mounted to the back of a pickup truck. Ching! And as they fly up, the wings and the tail come out and go, and they stick out, and then they take off. It says the U.S. Navy is working on small, inexpensive, unmanned aerial vehicles to be deployed in the battlefield. The drones are designed to work in groups or swarms. Hence the cool project name Locust. Yes, and what do we... Actually, I was just saying to Pigmine the other day, I haven't seen a good locust attack video lately. You know, we get the swarms around this time of year, and somewhere in some country, we get the locust swarm that wipes out all the crops just about every year, and I think, oh, look, it's the locust swarms. What's coming next? Low-cost UAV swarm technology. Maybe the swarms of locusts that were referred to in times of old actually meant the swarms of locust drones. The Navy produced this animation to show how these wonderful little drones might work. And they show them surrounding a little city, all flying above in unison, one from every direction, shining laser beams and blowing the living shit out of the city. Yes, it does show that. Bam, 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 bam. Look at them all. They're just blowing the shit out of it. And that's the end of that. Locust drones coming to a small establishment near you. Oh, so I don't know. And then, of course, we have all this stuff going on online. Pretty much they know who everybody is. We've had a couple years to make sure that we've given all of our cards up online, typing in all the social media. They know pretty much what your preferences are, what your likes are, what your dislikes are, whether or not you're dangerous or they consider you dangerous. We have the radicalization of people over the internet, remember. We have our teenagers who are sucked into the machine, and now apparently they're being radicalized. Well, we can watch this one. I thought this was interesting, just the way they mentioned this, but this is exactly it. 6,000 EU citizens join ISIS ranks. Jihad mania. Yes, jihad mania. Is that like Beatles mania of the 60s? Jihad mania spreads among teens. Guys, there is going to be an ISIS in every pot and under every bed, and it's going to be your kid. Oh, this actually was upsetting to me. Jihad mania with teens. Let's go to Iraq and see if we can get beheaded with a chainsaw. I mean, that's what they're doing. I think that was Boko Haram that actually did that, but it's all the same. Pretty much the same group, same financing and same trainers.
Islamic State is continuing to win over converts in Europe through a relentless propaganda campaign. Sweden has become the latest to admit that there is actually very little it can do to stop its citizens from joining the terrorist ranks. According to various estimates, around 6,000 EU citizens are currently fighting in Iraq and Syria within the ranks of the jihadists, and that sparked fears that those who return home will pose a major security threat. A senior British Muslim lawyer has dubbed this trend jihadi mania. Nazir Afzal says Islamic State is gaining the status of a pop idol for teenagers in Britain, with boys wanting to be like them and girls wanting to be with them. Mr. Afzal now joins us live. Thanks so much, Mr. Afzal, for joining us here on RT International to discuss this issue. So, in your opinion, where does this appeal come from? Because for most people, it's hard to imagine what would make a boy or girl in Britain to join the ranks of the jihadists.
Good afternoon to you. When you talk about young people, you have to remember how vulnerable they are. Teenagers particularly are susceptible to propaganda, to marketing, to all of those kinds of things. And what's happening with ISIL, ISIS, Daesh, whatever you want to call them, they're very evil people, but they're very good at propaganda. They're very good at marketing. And they're presenting this image that somehow this glorious campaign that they're carrying out in Syria and Iraq is one thing that attracts them compared to the life they may be leading or living in their own homes, where they may well be oppressed in some way by their parents. They may well be told by their parents that there are things they can't do. Their parents obviously feel very happy that they're at home, but they don't pay much attention to what they're doing online. And where they are online, they have access to charismatic individuals who try to sell them this message that your life is not as good, you are unwanted and unloved where you are. We will love you, we will want you, and we will give you a life that you have no way of achieving in England or in Europe or wherever you may be. And that is a selling point that works.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, their selling point works, but what about the other side? What's being done at home to counter that and to protect teenagers as a result?
There are lots of strategies that you put in place, but you have to treat this like an addiction. Any addiction, whether addiction to drugs or anything of that nature, you can't just simply tell people what you're doing is bad, and the police will be involved. You've got to give them hope. You've got to give them expectations that their life here will be meaningful and their ambitions will be realized. You've got to provide them with support. The communication has to be much better than it is. You've got to give them that impression that what they have here and the potential they have here is so much greater than the unreal and evil world that they might be going to. They have no understanding, because when you are young, you automatically think that there's something better than the life that you lead. And these people are very good at expressing a life better than the one they have at the moment. So you've got to give them hope, you've got to give them ambition, you've got to give them support, and you've got to communicate with them better than we are doing at the moment.
So there you go. I don't know, radicalize them over the internet and make them feel hopeless, make them feel hope, so then they go flocking. I mean, isn't that what's happening right now? Make them all feel like things are bad where they are, which is exactly what's even happening here. And this happened to be the EU, but they're already talking about jihadified teenagers here because of that pesky internet. That pesky internet is what is giving us the truth about things versus the propaganda, which is all we see in the commercialized media. You know, that propaganda, though, at least in this country, tries to tell our teens how hunky-dory it is, and Kim Kardashian's butt got bigger, so pay attention to that. I think that's why we are just this high fructose corn syrup, brain dead society that was never going to figure anything out. We're just not. All we are is ripe for Chinese takeover. That's about it. I saw it too for the first time since World War II, maybe. We had, it was such a large number too, 1,200, I think the number was, UK paratroopers in North Carolina working with our military doing this huge dual training down there. And, it's definitely going to make you wonder. There are just trainings everywhere. This Jade Helm thing. Why are they buying? I just saw too that they're buying more firearms, more ammo. Why? We are not fighting ISIS on a daily basis in the homeland. Are they planning? I mean, is that really what they're going to do? Are they really going to make teenagers the jihadis now? Are they really going to I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. All right, but here we go. Long-range iris scanners. They can get you and know who you are from... hold on. Turn this back on.
You've seen eye scanners in movies like Charlie's Angels, but even in real life, in order for eye scanners to work, they have to get up close and personal. New technology is beginning to mimic another movie, Minority Report, where long-range devices are able to scan entire crowds from a distance, which has critics worried. Every person's iris, that colored circle around the pupil of the eye, is different. That's why police have started using them to build ID databases, like the FBI has done with fingerprints. Carnegie Mellon University's College of Engineering is testing a new system that it says can accurately read each iris's unique signature from as far away as 12 meters.
Oh, 12 meters. So 12, I said 30 feet yesterday, so it's 36 feet.
Savides says it could offer a safer way to ID dangerous criminals during police stops.
That's our long-range iris system at the back, and what it's doing is, as I'm looking at the mirror right now, it's actually finding my face, detecting my eyes, extracting features, and then matching them, running through the database to come up with the identity of who I am. It can really save the officer's life by making sure that he's far away and safe.
The American Civil Liberties Union fears police may use long-range iris scanners to track people in large public crowds. They say using scanners in that way might violate privacy rights.
So there you go. At that distance, I hate this autoplay. I got to turn this off. At that distance, at 30, what did we say? 12 meters, 36 feet, right? 12 times 3 is 36. They can identify who you are. And in the video, they were just showing the cop pulling up behind somebody's car and catching his iris in the side view mirror and being able to identify him without ever even getting out of the car. Guys, it's already happened. It's already happened. The technology is here. Our enslavement is already here. I don't know. We'll have to see whether or not I even feel like doing a show tomorrow, because this just sucks. I have to say that. I really don't have a lot to say right now. We can look at this new Paswan virus. This is the one I told you about yesterday. Let's get back to MK Naomi and Plum Island and Eric Traub. Some of the stuff we were talking about at the beginning of the week with using insects as disease-borne vectors, ticks being one. We talked about Lyme disease. And here is this new, of course, new and improved, never before seen. No, I don't know. It's probably been seen before because they know what it is, but definitely not something that's out there in the general populace yet, but it's spreading. They got it in Connecticut. It is now called the Powassan virus and is spread by ticks.
So what do people do if they get it?
Spending time outdoors, beware. Doctors warn about the Powassan virus, a rare tick-borne illness, but one that could be serious and has no treatment or cure.
The doctor just has to support you during that acute illness and hope that you survive.
Dr. Daniel Cameron, president of the International Lyme and Associated Diseases Society, says if bitten by an infected tick, you can get the virus within a matter of minutes. And while the symptoms are similar to Lyme disease, they are more severe.
You can get seizures, high fever, stiff neck. It comes on so suddenly.
Researchers with the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station now say the Powassan virus is starting to show up in Bridgeport and Branford.
I wouldn't imagine having something worse than this. It sounds really awful.
Jennifer Sirigliano was diagnosed with Lyme disease 2 years ago. The 15-year-old says it's been a long road of recovery. Now with this emerging tick-borne illness, doctors say be on the lookout.
Be more vigilant about checking. I can't stay indoors. Summer is the time to be outside.
Doctors say there are ways you can protect yourself. Wear long sleeves and pants when you're outside. Avoid spending time in bushy and wooded areas. Always do thorough tick checks after coming back from being outdoors, and wear bug spray. Reporting from Mount Kisco in Westchester County, Tracy Carrasco, CBS 2 News.
So it's more severe than Lyme. It comes on suddenly. It causes seizures and high fevers. There's no treatment and there's no cure. And it's just emerging. First time seen in Connecticut here in ticks. Yeah, that just happened by chance on its own. Came out of nowhere, I'm sure. So, let's keep fighting amongst ourselves and let the world all go to shit, I guess. Because that's about what it looks like we got for ourselves. I don't know. Like I said, I have to say I'm just pretty disappointed over a lot of things. All right, guys. Well, it's Thursday, so make sure you stick around. Blanche is next. Then Libby's newest. I'll make sure I have that in there. Then we have Mr. Chuck Ocelli is live at 6. Behind the Woodshed, so Hal's show from Sunday is going to run at 8. Double Cross with Drew and Chuck at 10. I'm sure they'll talk about the mining thing. And Antimony Radio with SM Gibson at 11. It's Thursday night. Make sure you guys stick around. Have a great Thursday, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Take care.